Well, good evening. I call the special meeting of the Ames Conference Board for Tuesday, July 28th to order. Start off with the roll call.
Ames City Council.
Present.
Story County Board of Supervisors.
Here.
Gilbert School Board.
Here.
Ames School Board.
Here.
Nevada School Board. United School Board.
Thank you. Has everyone received a copy of the April 14th minutes and had an opportunity to review them? Any corrections to the minutes? Otherwise, I entertain a motion to approve the minutes. We need a motion from one entity and a second from another entity.
So moved.
By
Second.
Ames School District, seconded by Ames City Council. Those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. All right, item 3, term and appointment of this Ames City Assessor. Sherry, you want to make any comments?
No, I guess I just can say that I have really enjoyed being the assessor so far, and I hope to continue that.
So, conference board members, we did, the council did pass an ordinance, and it was forwarded to you on July 14th. We had first, second, and third readings and passed it on the 14th, affirming that the term of office for the city assessor shall be 6 years. The next term shall commence on January 1st of 2027. This was as requested by the Department of Revenue. And so that has been affirmed. It is, for those of you that may have not, this may be a little bit new, the term is a 6-year term, and I believe termination is extremely limited by Iowa code. It has to be basically for illegal malfeasance, whatever. It's very specific in the code. And this is to help protect the assessor from being influenced by political forces. But we're thrilled that, I'm personally thrilled that Sherry is interested in being reappointed to another 6-year term. It would start on January 1st of 2027, ending the 31st of December in 2032. And this is the first day, there's a window and when we can appoint the city assessor, and confirm with Sherry that today is the first day that an appointment can occur, which allow her to plan appropriately depending upon the decision, as well as the conference board. So if you have any questions, be happy to answer them, or you can ask Sherry. All right. Entertain a motion relative to appointing the Ames City Assessor, Sherry Plaguey, Ames City Assessor, for a 6-year term beginning on January 1st, 2027 and ending December 31st, 2032.
So moved.
Moved and seconded. Thank you. Those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstaining? Motion carried. And entertain a motion to allow the chairman to essentially, Sherry said, no longer to send a letter, but basically on behalf of the board, indicate that appointment has occurred to the Iowa Department of Revenue, asking for the confirmation of assessor. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
Thank you. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Very good.
Thank you so much.
Any unfinished business this evening? Any new business? Conference board comments? Entertain motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you. Good evening. I call the regular meeting of the Ames City Council for Tuesday, July 28th to order. Welcome, everybody. We're going to start off with a child care feasibility study report from Sarah Mansell from Story County United Way. Sarah, welcome.
Thank you. Good
If you make sure you can have the mic close to your mouth so people can hear in the back.
I will.
Thank you.
Usually I don't need that kind of help. Like Mayor said, my name is Sarah Mansell. I am the Community Impact Director at United Way of Story County. Tonight, I'm here to present an update on the child care feasibility study, for which the council approved a $10,000 investment toward the total cost last year. We're very appreciative of that contribution from you and other partners, including the County Board of Supervisors, the Alliance, Iowa State University, the Nevada Economic Development Council, and Story County Medical Center. The purpose of this study was to determine actions and solutions to improve access, affordability, and quality of childcare while supporting Story County's families, providers, and employers. We had great support from Fran McIntyre and her team from Pendulum Dependent Care Solutions. And I just want to acknowledge the work the city's already doing in this area. Through the asset process, the City of Ames supports 4 nonprofit childcare providers for a total of approximately $285,000 and more than $155 additional $1,000 in other after-school and summer service providers who are supporting youth during those out-of-school times. You've provided nearly $500,000 in the last year to those providers, and we appreciate that partnership. During the study, Phase 1 evaluated the current childcare landscape, including supply, workforce conditions, affordability, and geographic distribution. Today, I went to Child Care Resource and Referrals website to bring you the most up-to-date information. We have 5,360 children who are age 0 through 5 years old in Story County, but only 4,130 total spaces. Statewide, about 70% of families with children under 5 have all adults working outside of the household. During Phase 2, we looked at community demand and surveyed people to gain their lived experiences and better understand the barriers affecting families, providers, employers, and university-affiliated households. Thanks to grassroots efforts from our nonprofit and other partners, more than 1,200 people answered our surveys across 3 different formats. For our parents and caregivers, we heard from approximately 500 individuals. 44% of those families have had to wait between 3 and 6 months for childcare availability to open up. An additional 21% wait between 6 and 12 months. As you can imagine, that's a long time to have work and other plans on hold while your child is growing and their own needs are changing. About half of the surveyed families spend between $1,000 and $1,500 per month per child in care. 43% of those folks also reported challenges impacting their ability to work. Our ISU survey included a mix of faculty, staff, and students. Of those 700 responses, 62% of people have declined responsibilities, assignments, or travel within their own job description, and 50% considered reducing their work hours altogether due to those childcare challenges. In our provider survey, we received 60 responses from a mix of for-profit and nonprofit providers, both center-based and home-based. Their waitlist reports mirror what we heard from parent experiences, and their biggest challenges are in the workforce area, both retention and recruitment of employees. We have frequent turnover for those who employ ISU students due to schedule changes, graduation rates, that sort of impact. The other challenge they face is balancing the mix of full-time and part-time employees, given who the labor force is and who they're drawing from. During Phase 3, our consultant translated these findings Oh, excuse me, my paragraphs are flipped. Our key findings are that workforce shortages are the most significant barrier to decreasing wait lists and increasing enrollment community-wide. It's not actually physical space, which a lot of us assumed before this study was complete. We have classroom capacity, we have centers, but due to the restrictions based on the childcare industry, it's not like another business. They're limited by safety ratios. They need enough adults in the building to enroll and recruit more children. Infant and toddler care is the largest gap between need and supply. And of course, families with middle incomes face a specific challenge. They may not be eligible for assistance, but they're not earning high enough wages. Many of them report childcare costs similar to housing costs. In Story County, families with a median income spend 15% of their income on childcare instead of the federal affordability benchmark of only 7%. We are looking forward to implementing these findings into a strategic framework and phased roadmap designed to guide long-term system improvements and coordinated action. We've looked at examples from Michigan, which holds a tri-share model where nonprofit, for-profit, and government work together to bring funding and investments into this industry. There have been several pilot programs across Iowa through the Women's Foundation. And one particular recommendation was to implement a childcare leadership collaborative. This is different from the Childcare Coalition United Way currently convenes. As part of my role, I gather stakeholders, not just providers, but folks from Early Childhood Iowa, folks from the university, very much service provider level individuals to gather and discuss challenges, brainstorm solutions, build those relationships. The difference between this group and the leadership collaborative to be developed is we'd like to bring in higher level decision makers from multiple industries across Story County. The study took place about November to March. We've been working on this report. There is a 7-page summary and a full 60-page report. If you have other information you want to look up, that's available on the United Way website as well as the Alliance website. And I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Sarah. Questions?
Maybe just a couple, because we know we have a full agenda tonight.
Yeah.
Thanks for the presentation.
Welcome.
You gave us numbers that represent our current numbers. Could you speak to any issues of sort of longitudinal numbers? Are these numbers moving in the right direction, wrong direction? Can you give us a sense of the trajectory?
In terms of the gap between the need and the spaces?
Correct. And maybe just maybe start with that, the gap.
Yeah, I would say we've consistently not had enough spaces in Story County for many years now, and it is not going to change without intentional action to draw more people into this workforce. Childcare is infrastructure, just like roads and safety. If we don't have adults, if we don't have parents in the workplace, then we suffer economically across our community. So I don't have a specific trend line for you, but I do know that that is an ongoing solution, not only Story County, but statewide and nationwide.
And last question. I appreciate the fact that you've looked at some other cities, and this is a problem nationally. So if you follow national news, this is a problem coast to coast. Have you found anything like best practices that we should be thinking of for a community our size?
Yeah, in terms of a community our size, I need to dig a little deeper. A lot of it has been other cities and towns, sometimes countywide or statewide. Johnson County actually does some interesting work with Iowa University, so those are folks I'm looking forward to speaking with more directly.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Other questions? All right. Thanks for
Thank you,
coming, Sarah.
everyone.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll move on to consent, and council staff has asked that item 10 be pulled, and an applicant requested that item number 35 be pulled and put on a future agenda. So is there any other items from consent that council wishes to pull tonight?
I'd like to pull item 16, please.
Item 16, anything else? Entertain motion to approve consent less item 16 and item number 10.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call.
Betcher,
Aye.
Junk,
Aye.
Corriere. Aye. Rollins.
Aye.
Beatty Hansen.
Aye.
Garten.
Aye.
Thank you. Anita?
So item 16 is related to, oh, that's not the right one. Oh, goodness. I meant 15. How do
15,
I
15.
undo that?
15.
We'll pretend it's 16.
Oh,
Go
we'll
ahead. You
pretend
ask
it's
the question.
16?
Resolution
Okay.
approving the boards and commission survey results. Is
Item
that your question?
15 about the 2026 City Boards and Commission survey results. And so if Paul would be willing to come up and tell us a little bit about the survey and how they will be using this. Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. So we actually started doing a boards and commission survey a year ago. So this is the second time that we're doing this. And this actually came about because of a council goal that you had set, right? You had told us that you wanted to ensure that the community knew about these opportunities to serve on a board and commission, and that we were kind of allowing multiple perspectives to be represented on this board. And so one of the things that we did was we issued a survey to folks who are volunteering. So there's about 120 community members who volunteer their time to serve on a board and commission. And we've been asking them, how is your experience going? Tell us a little bit more about what it's been like to serve on the board, what's working well, where are some rooms where we can improve. And so this is the second year of those results. So we've aggregated them for you. So you'll see that in your council action form. We also have the raw data that we've provided to staff so that staff can kind of hone in on their specific boards and commissions. So we have 20 boards and commission and 20 different staff people who manage each of those. So we're planning to continue doing this year after year. It's given us some really invaluable feedback from that. And one of the things that we're going to continue improving on is just touching base with those volunteers right at the front and letting them know kind of how each of the board or the commission operates, because each one is very different. Some have, monthly meetings. Some only meet when there's appeals going on. Some only meet, twice a year, that sort of thing. So really kind of getting on the front end of that when folks get appointed on, getting them oriented to their new role.
Thank you.
Okay. I'd entertain a motion on item number 16, which was pulled.
15.
16 was pulled. We voted on 15.
Oh,
I move approval of 16.
No, of 16. I need of 16.
Yeah.
She pulled 16.
Right. So I moved approval of 16.
I'm sorry.
I'll
Second.
second.
Thank you.
Sorry. I started.
All right. Roll call.
Junk,
Aye.
Corriere, Rollins,
Aye.
Beatty Hansen,
Aye.
Garten,
Aye.
Betcher.
Aye.
All right. Now we'll go into the public forum. It's a time we set aside for comments from the public on topics of city business other than those listed on the agenda. Ask people to limit their comments to 3 minutes or less. Is there anyone who wants to address council under public forum tonight? Please. If you would please introduce yourself and you may begin.
Hi. Hello, my name is Steve Vasey, 919 Murray Drive. Been at that address for 40 years. I want to talk to you very briefly about solar farm issue. We are hoping that the pendulum will swing and there will be tax incentives again in the future for development of green energy, including solar farms. And I have no idea if staff and council have already proactively decided you will have shovel-ready projects for when that happens. But I would certainly, as a citizen of Ames, urge you to have shovel-ready projects. And you all know what that means. Have those ready so we do not miss another opportunity to make our energy much greener. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Anybody else? All right, we'll close public forum. Move on to item number 28, data centers. Brian?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. 2 weeks ago, on the 14th, the City Council received a report outlining a variety of different action steps the city might consider in order to further regulate the construction or operation of data centers. We gave the council an opportunity to digest that report and are now back tonight to take direction as to how you would like to proceed. So at the last discussion, there was consideration of a delay or temporary pause in accepting applications for development of new data centers while the topics that the City Council wanted to explore were being researched and presented to the City Council. So tonight, we have taken the list of 12 items that the City Council was presented with previously and placed it on a calendar. And if the City Council wanted to pursue only those 12 items, we think that it would be something that could be accomplished within a period of about 6 months for us to provide the background information, research further these topics, present them to the City Council, go through any processes that are necessary for the Planning and Zoning Commission in the case of zoning text amendments, and then also go through the process of ordinance adoption, hearing, and so forth for any other code changes. If the City Council would like us to consider other topics beyond the 12 that were described in the previous report, then tonight would be the time for those to be discussed, and we can consider what that might impact, how those might impact the timing of the temporary delay. But with that said, I'm happy to take any questions you might have, and I'll turn it over to you.
Thanks, Brian. Council, I thought to kind of help get the ball rolling, and is that, as Brian mentioned, there's 12 items. There's actually 14 items on the list, but 2 of them have to do with a temporary pause or permanent ban. Is there interest on and support on council for all these items? Now, item number 7, there's 4 options. If you may recall from 2 weeks ago, item 7, Roman numeral 4, was what staff was suggesting, a rezoning process with either master plan or overlay as an option to be considered relative to the development approval process. So my question is, if you are supportive of and interested in pursuing all 12 of those, it'd be something that we could take in one motion and basically wrap that up. As Brian mentioned, the intent is that the chart schedule that was put in the council action form actually integrates all those 12 items, and then we can talk about if there's other topics that you're maybe interested in covering or including or having studied. So. Is that clear? Does that make sense in terms of trying to be efficient with both time and conversation?
Mayor, I think that makes a lot of sense. In looking at the staff report, I felt like I had a good picture of what a really stripped down approach to a moratorium, a delay, would look like. And I think that the 12 items are worth pursuing, but that we also have some other concerns that were raised during our listening session that could be handled with an additional motion.
Yes, I would agree. Yep. Trying to keep the motions clean and straightforward. So, is there any clarification on any items that or questions you have?
I had one clarification that I thought maybe the people who are reading this action form would want to have. And that was on the list of options, number 2, which currently reads restrict data centers based on building size, the use of on-site power generation, and the type of cooling system used. We heard a lot during the listening session about the use of generators, and I wanted us to make sure that we clarified that the use of on-site power generation is not about that emergency generator use, that it's actually about the primary type of power generation, because there are some of these data centers that are using rice engines to power themselves or other alternatives. So I would just like to clarify that it's actually restricting the type of primary power generation and type of cooling system and building size.
Thank you. Okay, is there any other questions or comments?
I'm curious, Brian, in other situations where we have paused a decision to do additional due diligence, we've worked with the applicant on that matter to see if this delay was consistent with their plans. And I know that in the initial meeting, Light Edge indicated that they were still very much in the preliminary phases themselves on this. So, but I didn't want to presume anything. Has anyone communicated with Light Edge to see if a 6-month delay would be consistent with their planning activities?
I've not had a direct conversation with Light Edge about that.
Okay.
Okay.
I guess, Tim, I would be really concerned about just having a 6-month delay because I think that stripped down timeline doesn't account for public feedback at all, and it doesn't account for our deliberations. And so it feels like 6 months is really not enough if we want to have that public feedback that I think is very important in a discussion like this.
To the mayor's point, though, I think the question was if we'd be all right with the 12 items, and then we talk about length of delay
Right.
in a moment.
Right. Yeah, I like to
Just
do.
wanted
Yeah.
to clarify that when Tim was making
it up,
that
yeah.
point.
Yeah, the way I like to do is, thank you, Brown, exactly, is to start with the 12 and then open it up for other things that council's interested in having looked at.
I would.
And
can I
then,
make a motion?
then we can talk about, then we'll wrap it up with talking about the temporary pause.
The delay.
So, yeah, go ahead.
I'll move that we direct staff to look into the 12 items that are listed.
And could I just have a point of clarification? Is that 12, would that be item 7?
Oh, sorry, 7, Roman numeral 4.
That would
Yes,
be
the
part of the
rezoning
12.
process with the master planner overlay that allows for contract rezoning.
Second.
Okay. That clear, Taylor? Okay. All right. Those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstaining? Motion carried. Okay, are there any other topics, areas of study, information that you would like to have brought back to council for consideration and in the decision-making process?
I have a couple.
Okay, please.
So one that I didn't see on the list is not only water quantity, but water quality issues. And I'm hoping that we can hear about I would like to ask staff to do a little bit more research and provide us with that, if they could, about what might be in a closed loop system and, how we dispose of that, right? So, and that might be what industrial pretreatment the companies might do already. I mean, I know we have industrial pretreatment already in place for industrial users. And so it would be just about bringing that information to us, and also so we can present it to the public in terms of what safeguards we might already have in place or what we might consider.
Brian, do you have any comment on that? Is that implicit in any of these? And if it's not, then it would be a standalone.
I'm certain we could put together a report relying on the staff at Water and Pollution Control to
Great.
Get a memo regarding that fairly quickly.
I would move for a memo from Water Pollution and Control staff. Water and Pollution Control? Water and Pollution Control staff. Regarding water quality issues.
Second.
So could you, just as a point of clarification, could you explain what specifically you're hoping staff would be able to answer or provide information on?
Yeah. So we heard that these the closed loop systems might have things in them so that prevent corrosion and things like that. And if that were to need flushing, or if there were to be a leak in either of those cases, that water goes somewhere. And so if it's going into our
Sanitary sewer.
sewer system, yep. Does the water treatment plant have the capability to clean sufficiently that water? Or in the case of flushing, which would be predicted and scheduled, I presume, then maybe the industry has pre-treatment things that they're already doing. I don't know, but I know that some industry does have to pre-treat their water before they release it to us. And so I think it would be helpful to have that information refreshed in our minds and again, presented to the public too.
So just being a little specific, but I want to make sure that staff has a clarity. It's really about the water is being discharged after it's being used in a closed loop cooling system.
Yes.
It's not about the water from the water plant coming into the facility. Is that correct?
Right. Yes.
Thank you.
The wastewater. Or,
Right. Yeah, wastewater. Yep. Okay. All right. Do you have another one?
Can we do them each as a motion?
Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
I
you're
vote on. No, they just automatically pass. I'm sorry. Those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. All right. Do you have another one?
I do. I'll do my other hard one, and then I'll give some other people a chance if they have one. Have mentioned this before, but I would like us to think about, or I guess what I will ask staff for is to do some research on other places if they have required energy be sourced through renewables or credits purchased towards renewables or some other system where we can ask these companies to help us build green infrastructure, right? So, and I'm thinking, I don't quite know what's out there, but one of the thoughts I had is you could almost have sort of what I'll call like a cafeteria plan option where we could allow some building of their own true green energy. Say they put solar panels on the roof, but that wouldn't, of course, be near all the energy that we're talking, right? So you could have a piece be that. You could have a piece be credit, purchased towards credits, maybe, or maybe there could be a fund that a company provides to the city where then the city uses that money to build renewables or to distribute that to citizens and residents that want to put renewables on their own homes. I don't know. That's getting kind of but anyway, I'm asking staff to research what has, if any of that has been done in other communities yeah.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
So we talked about this just briefly, and it seems like this is a topic that we should have a larger visit about than in the context of this particular situation. We have never required this of any other business, and it seems unfair that we are treating one business different than another. And this is different than in the category of doing our due diligence with respect to the safety and utility concerns of Light Edge. This is something far broader. And so because it feels like we're picking one business out, maybe there's another business that I don't like, and so I'm going to make them do offsets. So I think this feels arbitrary, and I don't want to support something that's arbitrary like this.
Do you have
That's fair.
Yeah, go ahead.
I would just argue that data centers are putting unique pressures on our power systems in a way that we have not seen any singular industry do in the past. And
I would ask that you would refrain from clapping, please. We understand there's people that are in favor of and against it, so we get it. Let us keep the conversation going.
And
Go ahead.
I would just say, I that would just be my argument for looking into this topic.
And again, that's all it is looking into it. It's not committing us to 100% implement this for the proposal. It's just looking at what other places are doing. And who's to say that we could get this information back and then say, we have a lot of other big resource users in other ways, other industries. we might not do this just for data centers. We might open it up in the future. So it's just committing to learn more.
Any other comments?
Yeah, I don't see this as committing us to that. What I do see it as is committing us to find out what's being done elsewhere. And it may be that we learn that the things that are being done elsewhere aren't a fit for Ames. Maybe that they are a fit for Ames, but it may also be that they fit elsewhere on other industries in Ames. So to have the information allows us to move forward in a more enlightened way.
Well, it begs the premise, and this will be my last point on this, if the council wants to do this. If we had a very robust presentation the very first time this was presented to us, and council or the staff laid out for us the way in which their energy demands would be incorporated. And so they would be paying for the transmission, they'd be paying for the generation, additional generation. And so I think it's unfair to characterize them as putting an undue burden on our system, given the staff report we had. I mean, we all sat through that. So, I mean, we can get information, but understand it's not us who's doing the work. We're asking our staff people to take their time to research something that would be unduly burdened on one particular industry.
All right, those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Nay.
Motion carried 5-1. All right. Other items or topics?
Well, thinking about what Bronwyn has been saying, in looking back at the list of major concerns that arose at our listening session, it does feel like there has not been a lot of investigation or consideration in the ordinance revisions, which are kind of the focus of that list that we got, on the environmental impacts. We've got the noise included. We've got the resource consumption included. We don't have anything about heat generation, localized temperature increases, wildlife and habitat impacts, or impacts on public health of the noise. But those don't feel to me like things that staff should do. And I would be really interested in having, I don't know, a study team or whatever you want to call it, of people who are more expert in those areas, looking at those things while staff is going through the items that we have already assigned to them. So my motion would be that we form a study committee to look at those environmental impacts, including those that I just listed that are not already included in items 1 through 12.
I would second.
Okay, moving second, discussion.
I mean, remember, council, that we are entertaining a proposal of something that has been done many times. So this is different than a hypothetical project that no one's ever seen before, where a greater level of scrutiny, I think, would be warranted. But we have facilities, even as close as Altoona, that would be comparable to this, with ample data on all of these things. The fact that LightEdge has generously agreed to provide support, financial support for this, I think takes away sort of my concern with this. But I want to be careful that we're not just doing things to do things, that we're actually coming up with proposals that will have some meaningful results, just because we've got the data on all these other facilities.
Well, Tim, this isn't just about LightEdge, though. LightEdge is one type of data center that we have heard quite a bit from, but those hyperscalers that might be interested in our community are of a different breed. They are much bigger users of energy and resources. They have been shown to have impacts on humans and wildlife through the kinds of environmental impacts that are listed here. And I don't necessarily think that our staff, who is going to be working through those 12 items for the code, are the ones who should be bringing us back information about these impacts, which, as you say, there is material out there. So it seems like the perfect way to involve some of our local residents who are experts in various fields to study this while staff is working through the other 12 items, so that we don't split staff time or overburden staff with things that could be a really good way for our residents to interact.
I apologize. I may have misunderstood your motion, Gloria. So is your proposal to look at the environmental effects of a project on the scale of Light Edge or on all data centers?
All data centers.
And so-
'Cause we have to be considering everything from Light Edge or even maybe a little bit smaller to who knows how large.
Well, but then that begs the question of the scope of the project. So it's one thing to have an environmental review of a project of this small footprint. I don't know how you go about doing an environmental analysis of a project that we actually don't have. So that would be a hypothetical. And so how would we begin to do an environmental impact on a make-believe project?
But I think we can.
I would agree a bit. To me, if we're interested in looking at environmental impacts, it makes sense to have an actual project to study, because there are vastly different components. I mean, take data centers completely out of the equation as well. You've got other industrial users already in our community, let alone those that may come in the future, who could have similar or other different negative environmental impacts. So it seems like, I'm not going to say it's a waste of time, but it seems a little bit difficult to ask a group of people to study sort of generalities rather than something that's more specific and tangible to analyze.
And I would say I think it's an opportunity to proactively understand what the research says so that we are ready and we sort of have a number of things already in our toolkit before we need to make that decision, that there is information about the hyperscalers on down, and it would at least give us a place to start when those projects come along.
Can you remind me, Gloria, what were the topics that you thought this group could look at?
So the items that came up in the public input were the heat generation and localized temperature increases that are often associated with data centers, the impacts on wildlife and habitat, and I guess other pollution. You've covered water pollution. Pollution in general was brought up. And the possible health impacts to humans and animals, especially of that low humming DBC measured noise.
I think, just if I could, on that last part, I would think that's going to get covered with the noise item that you've already put on the list.
Well, not so much the impact of it. The noise ordinance is about setting limits.
So we have to do a staff report. We have to get into what is the meaning of DBC and DBA, which when you hire a consultant or you research this, they're going to come back with the basis for the standards related to human conditions. So I think from noise specifically, that one, the basis will be coming from a health perspective. It's not just for nuisance purposes. Most health is usually the basis for why those standards are created in the first place.
Well, as long as staff felt that they wanted to incorporate that with theirs.
I think you have to have the basis of why you would create a numerical standard, and that is usually based on some kind of health aspect of exposure to noise. That's my experience from the past. That's where most acoustical reports come from when you're talking about an environmental condition, not about the function of a room and how noise transfers in the room. So
Well,
I think that one will
fall
get
through
covered.
the cracks as
Okay,
long as
I think that one can absolutely would be covered by whatever you do on a noise study.
That's not related to heat generation or localized temperature.
Heat has nothing to do with noise, correct?
Yeah,
well, so that could also be included with those impacts on humans and wildlife.
it seems like heat generation might be the only impact left, though, right?
Um,
Because noise is covered.
Well, I don't know. Noise cover is noise.
Noise and vibration. So let's say
And that's going to be
sound.
covered for wildlife as well as humans, or just for humans?
I think that one's very dependent on location specifics. I guess I'm not familiar with, unless you're disturbing habitat, where a biologist would theoretically explain how a noise propagation model may or may not affect what type of wildlife we're even talking about. I think that one's really hard to define. I just know the human health one will definitely be the basis of a noise assessment.
Okay, so I don't want to lose the wildlife, especially the Light Edge project brought up the wildlife because it's so close to Tedesco Environmental Learning Corridor. So that's why people in my group anyway were especially concerned about those impacts on wildlife. Theoretically, it also could be impacted, wildlife could be impacted by other sorts of projects that are larger, right?
Yeah, or any type of many types of industry. Yeah.
But I think that wildlife experts are more positioned to look into this than we are.
I like the idea of using experts, especially, we have a lot of them, right, in town. So I like that. And I think it's, we would just be asking them to report to us what they find. I mean, so I think it seems like.
So
how do we,
Taylor, was there a motion that was made?
Yes.
Could you repeat the motion, please?
If you would like to make one that specifically states the categories that we want to
Oh,
include.
there's not a motion on the floor.
Well, I did make a motion.
That's what I thought. Rachel seconded.
It's been modified.
Wait, why don't you, would you mind withdrawing?
Motion
Go
to
ahead.
form a study committee to look at environmental impacts. And then we digressed a little bit into some discussion.
Okay.
So environmental impacts that are not going to be considered within the 12 items, is that encompassing enough? Do you need this list again,
I
Steve?
think you gotta be as specific as possible.
I think it'd be helpful to be specific. Yeah.
Otherwise,
Yeah.
You mentioned heat
please be
generation
specific
and
as
wildlife
possible.
impact.
we want us to study the
Well-
areas. Or be studied, not us, but
Yes, you're not studying it. So including heat generation and localized temperature increases, impacts on wildlife and habitats and human health.
Okay. That's
Does
it.
does that encapsulate what we were just discussing?
Yep.
Okay.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. All right, Tim, did you have
excuse me, one thing, and those are all not related to noise.
Not related to noise.
I was going to say, I would have been fully supportive had this been about the Light Edge project, the project that's actually before us. I think this is a fool's errand trying to chase down something on a hypothetical project. So I'm disappointed we can't do something more narrowly tailored to the proposal in front of us.
And I would add too that I'm thinking of data centers in general and not just the Light Edge one specifically too. In fact, for most of this, right? Because that's what we've been tasked with too, is thinking about what if someone else comes to town. So yeah, not a lot of this is not meant to be directed at Light Edge specifically. I think they just got caught up in the rest of this too. So
those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
Motion carried 4-2.
And I do have one other motion.
Okay.
I would move that we have staff come back with information on possible public benefits of data centers, and that they work with the city assessor to determine what aspects of data centers generate property tax.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion?
Isn't this already been discussed?
I don't know that we've presented. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know that we've seen a full picture of that, and I don't know that that's been communicated to the public. I hear a lot of people say, "Oh, all you'll get from this is airport revenue."
Mm-hmm.
It's like, no, and that's not the idea anyway. But I mean, we need to explain.
And is your motion pertaining to Light Edge in particular,
This is
or data
all
centers?
data centers. So I mean, it could be something like looking at communities that have benefited in a very wide array of ways. So communities that maybe host a company like Meta that are getting a recreation center because Meta came to town. I don't know what all those benefits might be, but right now, all we can really say is property tax, airport revenue, and we'll get an extension to the power grid if Light Edge comes to town. But if somebody bigger comes to town, there may be other things that would be beneficial for the community. I just want us to be
But
ready to
again,
explain that.
how do you articulate that when you don't have a project? Because every project's going to be different, right? Just like
Yes.
any economic development that we do. The assessed value is going to be different. The various incentives, if there's any, are going to be negotiated differently. The number of jobs is going to be different. I don't know how you put together something that's really actually meaningful and tells you something other than just really random projects that don't have anything to do with Ames and a specific project.
Well, I'm a big believer in brainstorming, and it seems like we on council all have different ideas about what benefits might accrue from this sort of project. And I think it would be valuable for us to be able to have a wide array of things that have been collected from elsewhere to look at as information and to consider. And it would be really helpful to know which parts of a project like Light Edge, for example, are actually property tax generating, because it's not clear to me, and I think it may not be clear to other members of council, whether it's just a building shell that is going to generate property tax, or whether it's some parts of the interior of the building that might generate property tax. So I'd like to know which things do generate property tax for these kinds of projects.
Okay. Those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Motion carried. All right, is there anything else that came up during your reflections on the council action forum and also on the public input session we had on the 30th that needs to be looked at? Otherwise, we can move on to discussing the temporary pause length.
And I don't know if this will be incorporated into some of the other areas, but there was some concern about monitoring and what goes on after a company is here. Like, how do we make sure that they are actually functioning in a way that is approved, and I did see under noise some information about keeping them accountable, but generally, how will we monitor and what will be the repercussions if a company isn't acting consistent with their original agreement? And so I don't know if that will be incorporated into other pieces, and if so, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure that that didn't get lost too, because that was something that came up within my group, that people wanted to know, how do you monitor and make sure a company is doing what they first committed to do?
Can you be a little more specific on what is being monitored?
Yep, like thinking about energy use, and also thinking about, even though we have talked about water and energy and sewer costs and sewer usage, but maybe some way of reporting each year so that we know, and requiring those reports so that we know how much energy is being used and what that energy source is, and how much water is being actually used, and how much is going into our drainage system. But is there discussion, and is that already part of what you're thinking about, this monitoring piece, and then how we would keep people accountable to that agreement?
Is that part of the ordinance,
Is that?
Brian?
Exactly.
Or
It
agreement?
sounds like it's more in the context of the potential lease, right?
Potential what?
The
Lease?
potential lease of city property.
Well, it could be a developer's agreement too. We'll have to.
Or a development agreement, right?
You're talking about accountability, not monitoring to see if you're holding them accountable. If they fail to meet the requirements of your policy or your law, what sanctions do we have against them?
Mm-hmm.
That's what we have to study.
Right, right. And that's what I'm asking.
Okay.
Is what we've talked about going to include that type of
Why don't you just add
study?
that? Just add that as another monitoring and accountability. Just add
Monitoring and accountability study.
Regarding utility use, is that right? Specifically?
no. It should be all
But
aspects.
beyond that, thinking about noise, a variety of
Okay.
things. And so I would move that a monitoring and accountability study be part of the work done.
I don't know that it's a
Staff
study.
reports back in terms of how they would accomplish that.
It's
Is that
not
what
a
you're saying?
study. Yeah. Okay.
Go ahead, Kelly. Yeah.
I was going to say, it's not really a study. You want staff to report back to you
Yes.
on what those tools are, whether it's development agreement or lease or ordinance
That would be
standards.
How you
right?
do it, how we
Any-
establish
How we would
sanctions.
accomplish that.
I'm just kind of curious because somebody brought up the noise monitoring. The public might not know that in the non-agenda packet, Light Edge talked about establishing an ongoing live monitoring program for noise. So that's an example of one. I'm sure there's going to be other things that we'll be able to look into, but that's what you're kind of looking at is what monitoring can we do, and then also what are enforcement mechanisms.
Yes.
Okay.
Is it just a $50 fine, or there's some stronger
Correct.
teeth?
Yeah, we've talked, but yeah.
Okay, there's a motion made. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
There was one question that was presented in the feedback sessions about what to do in crisis situation where we say lose power or and about the order that power comes back. Don't know that that's addressed in any of these topics, but also not quite sure how we ask for
Wouldn't
that.
that be wrapped into the?
Was that wrapped into one of these?
I thought it was part of
electric tariff or
that,
electric?
I mean, I thought we asked that and electric said they had a means of doing that, but maybe I'm wrong about that.
Brian, do you remember that?
I do not.
Okay,
I would just ask that we
make a motion.
I would move that we get a memo from staff about electric reconnection in the case of a big outage or crisis situation, emergency scenario, and just how we might think about who gets power first if it's an option.
Is there a second?
Second.
Did you have something you want to say?
I just, when you're referencing separate memos, this will be part of the document that comes back that will cover these topics. Is that how you see it? You asked for a memo, but this will be included in our report back. Right?
Okay.
All these items.
Yeah, I see. Sure.
Just want to clarify.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, this fits into the on-site power generation and when you use it. That's usually prescribed in that section.
This was one of the concerns related to electricity demand that came up during the listening session, and
It's
it
okay.
was
You're clarifying.
concerns about how power would be prioritized during shortages and emergencies.
Right.
Yeah. That's
Right. Yep. Okay. Those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. All right. All right. Have a temporary pause. There's a resolution in the packet. Staff has suggested or requested, in lieu of a specific time period, that a date-specific expiration be utilized. Tim, you mentioned, I'll go to you, you mentioned 6 months. There was a comment from Gloria that may not be adequate. We've added some things to the overall list of things for staff to look into. Let's discuss this one and come up with a motion.
Well, I think that council has offered some meaningful topics of discussion for larger data centers that certainly could be explored beyond the 6 months. The staff believes that they could take care of these initial proposals within that period. I worry about it extending into the budget cycle. And we have the discretion as council if we believe that additional time is warranted, we can always add additional time. But I think it's important that we create a time frame in which the staff believes that they can accomplish the goals that we've set for them. I don't want to just push it out just for the sake of pushing it out. I'd want to base it on the scope of the work.
So specifically in the city manager's recommended action, it says staff is optimistically estimating the delay should be in place until at least the end of January. And we just added additional items for staff to research and for the community to research. Also in the staff report, it says this table with the proposed 6-month timeline does not include any specific pauses the council may desire to obtain additional information, make final decisions, or gather public feedback. So this does not have enough time for community input, workshops, listening sessions, anything like that we might need to do before making a decision. This is just the staff time, and I do not think that 6 months is enough to do what we added and to involve the community in this decision as well.
And I'm just curious if, and not just Rachel, anyone in the council, as we sit here, how many additional listening sessions that we would need. We had a very robust one initially. I think that was very helpful. We're going to be obtaining a lot more information. I think it's reasonable that the community weigh in on what we find and give feedback. But I think we could do this in 6 months or 7 months. I worry a little bit that we're conflating the study of data centers in general and your point that Light Edge is sort of getting caught up in this, but that means that we're not doing our job as a council to meaningfully respond to their proposal. So they've come to us in good faith. They've made a proposal to us. And so then it may be that we need to have 2 tracks of analysis, one to allow us to make a meaningful decision with the proposal in front of us, and then a second track that might be a longer process to look at the bigger hyperscalers. Why couldn't we do that?
Well, it's going to be, it would seem that it'd be challenging to be trying to negotiate with a Light Edge if there's still uncertainty on a lot of these bigger issues. You know, Tim, I think a lot of them kind of overlap as well too. I understand what you're saying. I think that I think council does want to be responsive to proposal on the table. On the flip side, I think we did talk about this, and that was we're trying to capture all of these things and maybe even broader in terms of high energy users, you know, in the future, other, you know, industries that maybe can't foresee what they might be. But the point is, it's going to be difficult for staff to negotiate if they're still in the conversation stage on some of these topics. That makes sense?
I think given the fact that we as council have the ability, if we're not satisfied with the information that we've received, then we could always push this back. Again, I don't think we're being fair to the applicant who has brought this proposal in front of us to kick this can down the road indefinitely while we're pursuing the discussion of data centers in general.
I didn't hear indefinitely. I heard that it was just 6 months. May it be not long enough? Is there a proposed?
I would move that we, well, or do you want a motion or?
Sure.
Do you
Let's
want,
get a motion and let's go ahead.
So
And talk
I
about
would
it.
move that we impose a 9-month delay. Staff has given us a 6-month timeline, but it doesn't include public feedback and our deliberation and possible need for additional information, and it does not include the items that we added tonight. But 9 months should give us time to get that feedback, and if it happens that we get it sooner, we could finish the delay sooner. If it turns out we need more time, we could extend that delay.
So what would be the date specific that you?
Date specific, May 1st, 2027.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, discussion.
Again, have we talked at all with the applicant to see how this would impact the viability of their proposal? In other words, what if going with this 9-month proposal means that they just can't make this project work. Wouldn't we want to know that as part of our matrix of deciding?
I don't think that can be, to borrow an expression from you, the tail that wags the dog on this issue. I mean, I think we need to treat this issue fairly and to let, I mean, I understand that Light Edge has a sense of urgency, but I think we need to make our decision on its own merit and not because of pressure from that sense of urgency.
Yeah,
So
I'm not suggesting it's the tail that wagged the dog, but it should be a factor.
Okay. Other comments?
Well, one of the
Yeah, I mean, I guess I would just advocate that, as I said at the last meeting, that we're not selecting arbitrary numbers. Staff has identified a timeline. To me, it seems more prudent that you pass a temporary delay that's in line with the timeline, and then it's extended based on how things are developing and whether we are deciding as we're getting staff reports back whether now is the time for a public input session or now is the time to do more research. I hate the idea of dragging this out for a number of reasons. Obviously, we're not in the business normally of council is just leaving potential projects up in the air with no, certainty. At the same time, again, as I said at the last meeting, we have a very engaged group of people in the community. I think we can acknowledge, if we're being honest about the feedback that we're getting, that it's coming from both sides. People who are supportive of this specific project, people who are not supportive of this project, or people who aren't supportive of any data centers at all. And it's coming from across the spectrum. So to not acknowledge that and create a timeline that doesn't really honor what's exactly in front of us, I don't think is fair to both the applicant and to the community in general.
So
Go
ahead, Rachel.
I don't want to put staff on the spot, but with what we added tonight, what would you estimate that would add to the timeline presented?
You're putting us on the spot again. Let's ask you, how about deliberation and
Yeah, exactly.
public feedback?
That's what I think
Is that a
the
month?
extra
Is that 2
time
months?
comes from, honestly. That's where I see the extra time coming from. And I've been a proponent of a year, honestly, because I think I want to make sure we have plenty of time to talk through the issues. I feel like more questions will come up as we're doing this. I think we should have at least I would like another 2 minimum public sessions about it where we gather feedback on things received so far. I sense that a year's not going to happen, so I'll be supportive of 9 months because I think it's the best deal, it's the best compromise, right, between the fastest that we should do it and the year, which would be my preference.
Lori, do you want to
But why would we not collect feedback during regular council meetings? I mean, I think that's another point to the public engagement piece, right? Like we have an engaged group of people in the community who care deeply about this topic. And I think that council meetings are already difficult enough for some people to attend. And when you create additional meetings that are off of our normal schedule, I think that creates additional difficulties for people in trying to engage with us. So why would we not create a public input process that follows our normal input process for any other issue that we discuss in this community?
Yeah, I wanted to get through this meeting and then start thinking about how we're going to do that process. And to Amber's point, I would like to see it interspersed and get it as we go along, essentially, to try and be efficient and also respect staff as well as the public that comes and engage. But I think we can get that worked through so everyone is comfortable and supportive of that. But the point is there will be opportunities for public input in the months ahead.
We already have, in theory, we already have 6 months of work that we've in addition to this topic, right, that we've got to do in 6 months. And so,
You mean besides this?
yes, exactly. Our normal other business, right? Like the other things on this agenda tonight.
Right.
We have 6 months worth of those too. So if we do collect the feedback in a normal council meeting, I guess I could think about how that might work. I'm not necessarily opposed, but I think
Let's cross that bridge and get to it.
Yeah, I think, but that's where I see the need for extra time, honestly.
All right. Is there any other closing comments? Those in favor of the motion for May 1st to be the end date for temporary pause, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Nay.
Okay.
Motion carried 4-2. All right. Anything else, Brian, that you need from us tonight?
No, thank you.
All right. Thank you. We will move on to item number 29.
Thank you, Gloria. Thank you, Beatty. Thank you both so much. We appreciate you guys.
Do my name. I guess it's a name.
Part of your name. Yeah.
All right, Kelly, go ahead.
All right, so we're going to move on to the next item. Tonight, we have a public hearing on the annexation of the Iron Subdivision and the Ames Golf and Country Club. I know council is very familiar with this topic. We've been talking about this since January of 2025. City Council, in May of 2025, first directed staff to accept applications at our request to proceed with annexation, and at that time included an incentive of offering to transition the property taxes for the properties in the annexation over 3 years with a reduction of 75%, 50%, and 25% in that time frame. So last May, you asked us to move ahead. The City Council affirmed in June that since the Borgmeyer property, which is the red property to the south here, was in fact in the city, that it was time to move ahead with this process. So in June, you direct us to move ahead. We have
Sir, I mean, we can hear you up here, so if you wouldn't mind going outside and speaking in the foyer, it's kind of distracting. Thank you. Thank you for coming.
So in June, we commenced the process, had a consultation meeting. Story County attended. No particular feedback was provided at that time to alter this proposal, and we provided public notice as required to all of the owners of property within the annexation directly by certified mail, plus abutting property owners, all as required by state law. The Planning and Zoning Commission considered this earlier in July, and they determined that it was consistent with our comprehensive plan, which it is in fact consistent with our comp plan in the way that we have it designated for the expansion of the city. So we're recommending approval of this annexation. As you all know, the covenants that were originally agreed to by the country club, which then apply to all the subsequent buyers of property here. Not everyone did apply for the annexation, so we do have non-consenting properties. This map shows you that. The hatched areas are non-consenting properties. So even though the annexation is technically an 80-20 annexation, so we do have to make a finding that including those hatched properties is consistent with state law. Staff does believe that is true. We have interspersed properties for jurisdictional purposes along public streets. which is not good for emergency response and other elements of jurisdictional response. So we believe having a uniform boundary along GW Carver and 190th Street is completely consistent with state law, and we can proceed with approval of this annexation.
Thank you. Questions for staff?
I just want to be sure, Kelly, that if we approve alternative number 1, that everyone in the area that we're annexing would have that transition of taxes over 3 years. It's not just the people
Correct.
who took the opportunity to say will be annexed.
Yep. If you offer it to one, you've offered it to all that are in the process, not whether they voluntarily submitted an application or not.
Kelly, could you also just clarify or just remind us regarding the sewer and the fact that what this does or doesn't do regarding installing a sewer? Sanitary sewer.
So another issue with the covenants was eventually the property owners have to pay for the extension of a sanitary sewer main and disconnect from septic systems and connect to city sewer. All of that timing is at the direction of the city council. You received an overview of that earlier this spring. No direction was given. The property owners have not proposed any particular project that they would like the city to support or to undertake by themselves. So the annexation doesn't directly change any of that. Whether the property is annexed or not, the sewer obligation exists. It's not contingent upon annexation, nor does annexation trigger automatically that has to happen. So city council at some future date will be making that decision. As we described earlier this year in the spring, until the red property, the Borgmeyer piece, has a sewer extension from the east side near the railroad to the west side, it's not even feasible. So we would say at this point, at best, that's a 2028 idea that could even happen. So at that point, then there's probably needs to be some more discussions about what council's expectations and timing are. But at this point, there's no real determined timeline where that could be required.
Okay, any other questions?
Kelly, I'm trying to remember when we have staggered the imposition of taxes in a manner that's similar to what is being discussed tonight. Can you remind us, are there any other examples of this?
We have never done it. This is the first time we have ever utilized that provision of state code.
And I would point out, I think this is a very generous proposal. We certainly don't have to do this. And I think I'm supportive of it because of the recognition of the awkwardness, not because of anything that we did, but because of the challenges that the property owners face because they weren't properly informed. So I just wanted to point out that this is a unique situation and expresses, I think, a generosity of the city council.
All right, declare the public hearing on annexation of the Ames Golf and Country Club and Iron Subdivision property to be open. Is there anyone who wants to address council tonight? Daryl?
Good evening. My name is Daryl Veggie. My wife and Joyce and I both live at 5527 Irons Way, which is one of the 31 properties that reside in Irons Way and Irons Court. And we do not want to be annexed. All 31 people would rather not be annexed. We feel this is being forced upon us. So I'm here for two reasons. One is I would ask that you stop this annexation process of Irons Way and Irons Court. And Mr. Garten made it clear that a couple of times ago that yes, you can. And so we do concede that yes, you have the right to do that. The wording in the contract says if the city desires to annex us, and apparently that seems to be the track that we're on. The second thing is that I'd like out of this council is, being that seems to be the track that we're on, I really enjoyed the spirited discussion that was going on here with the data center. I have heard nobody say why you want to annex us. any one of the council members. You are the city. You can say yes or no. And so far, it appears that you're saying yes. I think you owe it to us. We've said we don't want to for these reasons. Have not heard a peep from you as far as why you want to annex us. Would anybody care to volunteer any of that information?
If council wants to address or that question, they can do so after you finish your comments.
Pardon?
I said if council wishes to respond, we will have them do that after you finish your comments.
Okay. I think that's really it. I think I'd like to ask that you do not annex us. And I would like to ask that if you are going to, tell us why. And that's it.
Thank you. Is anybody else? All right, declare the public hearing to be closed.
Well, I'll be happy to respond to Daryl. Daryl, you sat on this dais, and so I presume you have some recollection of land development process. And so as a city grows, it is not good planning to leave large tracts of land in the path of development unannexed. We provide city services. The people there are going to pay taxes for those city services. And so I appreciate the fact that when we annex, that there may be people who are reluctant to be annexed. We have heard that, I think, every time we've done an involuntary annexation. So I don't take it lightly. I put myself in your shoes. But we have a duty to the community broadly to follow best practices of growth and development, and therefore this area needs to be developed. I do not wish to go through the points that I went through in the last meeting. I would point out that the Golf and Country Club, I assume, received notice along with all the owners and continues to ignore these meetings, an opportunity to appear and to address what I think of is a clear level of responsibility to have informed the owners of the Irons about the implications of this agreement. And I also point out that I believe that what we did for the Irons, is it 10 years ago? I've lost track of time, 10 or 11 years ago, that was a huge financial benefit to the country club. I don't know the country club's finances, but I can only presume that this has been a great benefit to the country club. And yet here we are, and we've never heard from them. I've never received an email from them. They've never spoken to our meetings. And so this is a party that has benefited tremendously from our flexibility, which I would never support today. I would never sign up for this again. And they receive that benefit, but they have never had the decency to come and respond to I think, the genuine, legitimate concerns of you folks in the Irons. But that's why we're annexing. I hope that's helpful.
Anybody else?
Well, that was well said. Thank you.
All right, entertain motion.
I would move approval of the resolution approving annexation.
Alternative number 1, which would include the resolution on the transition for the taxes as well.
Yes.
Okay.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call.
Aye.
Rollins.
Aye.
Beatty Hansen.
Aye.
Garten.
Aye.
Betcher.
Aye.
Junk.
Aye.
Very good. We'll move on to item number 30. Vanessa?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you for the opportunity to present our 26-27 annual action plan that we have been working on for the last several months since March with public input. And we're now at the point of ready to submit that plan to HUD early this year. Hopefully that we can get a good response. I did wanted to bring to the council's attention the items that we have meets the eligibility requirements, and also our goal to complete the Baker subdivision, and also be in the position that we continue to meet the timeliness test for HUD with that moving along the Baker subdivision. And also the council's attention that we did receive one public comment that was in your packet regarding sidewalks being a sidewalk program and non and moderate income census tracts, which unfortunate CDBG funds can only be that and low income census tracts. And then other than low income census tract, we would have to do a household by household determination of eligibility to go outside of LMI census tracts, which would take up a lot more staff time and resources. And I am going to be in conversation with Public Works on what that could possibly look like and maybe bring some ideas back to council in the future.
Thank you. Questions?
Vanessa, in the council action form, we've got the following proposed projects listed, and among that is disposition of properties. 1107 Grand, 621 Grand, 1514 Duff, and the Baker subdivision. Those are all of the properties that we currently own. Is that right?
Yes.
And where does that put us if we sell them? I know I can never keep straight how this income and outgo of CDBG works when we're talking about properties like those. So could you explain to me again what that does to our balance sheet to dispose of those properties?
Certainly. It's very similar to what we're doing right now at the Baker subdivision. Any property that we've purchased under our affordable housing program, when they go back up for sale after we sold them or we improved them ourselves, that money comes back into our program, is considered program income. So it continues to add to our fund balance. So we just have to be in a position to be able to sell those, spend that program income when it comes in. So with the number of lots that we had to do at Baker to get that whole subdivision completed, then we're adding 3 more properties. The Baker subdivision became the primary source to where if we get that income in, we can get it spent on these funds, and then we can come back and then sell these properties or improve them ourselves and then sell them. So those properties are there, and for the same reason that the Baker subdivision they are generating program income properties.
Okay, and then I have a general question. Among the proposal here, we do not have CDBG funds being used for code enforcement in LMI areas. Is that a viable use for CDBG, or is that not allowed?
Well, we've had our dangerous buildings program in conjunction with inspections in our program before, so it's always there. So it's listed there because that's what we've done, our slum and blight, in connection with our dangerous buildings program.
So it's just not called out specifically?
It's just not the projects we're talking about for the upcoming year, but they're always in our portfolio that we can come back and do at some point or reenact them as long as we meet that minimum requirement. Remember, we can react some projects as long as we stay under a certain threshold that we don't have to go back for public comment. So that would be anything under $100,000 or less.
Thank you.
Other questions?
Vanessa, I ask you periodically, what are you hearing anything about the reliability of federal funding at this point? What are you hearing?
Well, it would be great just to hear from HUD, period. But hopefully, we did get our funding for this coming year. And so we're hoping that now we're a little ahead of schedule. We're getting our application that we will hear from them timely so that we can implement our projects timely. We do have a meeting scheduled with the field office next month to kind of find out what direction they're heading. What does that look like for cities that are entitlements and getting that funding and not having staff resources at the federal level? So I'm looking forward to that conversation they've set aside for us next month.
Great, thank you.
Vanessa, I understand that Section 106 requirements may be getting loosened, and I assume that's something that that would be of benefit to some of the projects that you have hoped to do?
Certainly, we have to spend a lot of resources going through architectural and surveys just to go into a project so that we can get items approved by SHPO in a timely manner, because they will unfortunately bog down the process because of not having deep, intensive phase 1 studies. So that takes up a lot of time. That's how we had to stop and do all that for our water improvement program. We had to spend $25,000, $30,000 on just doing the study area. But the benefit of that was then our projects were quickly approved by SHPO because we had to spend that money to make sure that we weren't disturbing anything that would affect their.
All right, I declare the public hearing on the item of approving the 2026-2027 annual action plan for the city's community development block grant program and home program is to be open. Anyone want to address council? Seeing and hearing none, declare the public hearing to be closed. Entertain a motion.
Move alternative 1.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call.
Rollins.
Aye.
Beatty Hansen.
Aye.
Garten.
Aye.
Betcher.
Aye.
Junk.
Aye.
Corriere.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Move on to item number 31, hearing on Low Point Drainage Improvement Program project. Justin.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. You have before you tonight a hearing. We had some bids for a low point drainage project that came in well, so I'm happy to answer any questions you have about the project.
Thank you. Questions for Justin?
Just whether or not JC Midwest is a company that you have experience with already.
I don't believe we've done a contract with them, but we did talk to them right after the bid opening, and we feel very confident in the work they've done in other places in the Des Moines metro area. So we're confident in their ability to do the work.
Okay, thank you.
Justin, should these sorts of projects help to mitigate the flooding issues that we might see after major rainstorms like we've been having?
Yes, to a point. There are certain levels that we can design to and we can actually construct to. These improvements here are going to take care of, I would say, maybe the more normalized rainfall events. When we get into 100 to 1,000 year events like we saw over July 3rd and 4th, there's very little that storm sewer infrastructure we're going to be able to build affordably that's going to make a difference in that. But I believe you'll be seeing some more information from me. There's some stuff in disposition to council tonight that I would assume you'll refer to us, so we'll be able to respond more appropriately to that.
All right, declare public hearing on this project to be open. Is there anyone who wants to address council on this project? Seeing and hearing none, declare public hearing to be closed. Entertain a motion.
I would move alternative 1.
Thank you.
Second.
Is that 1A, B, and C?
Yes, 1A through C.
Yeah,
yes.
the
Second.
agenda only showed A and B. This would be the council action form A, B, and C.
Yes.
Thank you.
Second.
Roll call.
Beatty Hansen.
Aye.
Garten.
Aye.
Betcher.
Aye.
Junk.
Aye.
Corriere.
Aye.
Rollins.
Aye.
And can I ask while we're on the topic, not related to my approval of it or not, but I see that this is fiscal year 25-26 low point drainage project. Anyway, we just passed out of 25-26, right? So how, and that's not uncommon, I know, but is it something where do you see us catching up, or we kind of keep with this timing in terms of when they get approved? Like, will the 26-27 be
I
any
think
sooner?
Well, what I think you'll see with 26-27, we're doing a stormwater study right now that's going to probably bring some of that information that we want to work on maybe in the short term, especially based off recent events, that maybe we want to reshuffle some things that are in the CIP. So the reason you're probably seeing a little bit of delay in that is we're trying to be responsive to those things that happen. Sometimes we can have a project that maybe is important, but it doesn't have the impact that maybe something else that's maybe a little bit farther down the road. So we try to move things around in that CIP. I don't believe you'll see us getting behind on this with 25, 26. That's when the funding was put into place, but we're probably working on other priorities before that and just kind of getting caught up to that. So I don't intend for us to get any farther behind than that.
Sure. Sounds good. Thank you.
When you say 25, 26, does that mean there may have been a study started that takes a while and then you move into a building project itself, or is that actually the project its own?
So the study that I'm referring to is something that was approved by council in 25, 26, and it is ongoing. We will likely have preliminary results of that the next month or two from the consultants. Now they'll present it to us as staff, and we'll have to digest some of that and probably bring it back to council for some direction during the CIP time. But that's the study that we're talking about. And there'll probably also be some larger thoughts that go on based off recent events as well of is council open to studying more areas to see what we can do to make sure the improvements that we make are viable and we can actually make some difference, because there are some that we really don't have a great solution for, but there are some that we think we can make some difference, and those are the ones we really want to focus on.
Very good. Thank you. We'll move on to item number 32, hearing to consider vacation of an existing public utility easement at Discovery Place.
This is an item for plat in Iowa State University Research Park. There was an existing public utility easement that wasn't used, and the way the developer is going to reconfigure the lots, we're basically vacating the existing one, and they'll plat new ones for the work that goes along in there.
Questions? Declare a public hearing on this item to be open. Is there anyone who wants to address council? Declare the public hearing to be closed. Entertain a motion.
Move alternative 1.
Second.
Roll call.
Garten,
Aye.
Betcher,
Aye.
Junk,
Aye.
Corriere,
Aye.
Rollins,
Aye.
Beatty Hansen.
Aye.
Move on to item number 33, hearing on vacation of electric utility easement and approval for disclaimer of interest in realty for the 161 kV transmission line relocated for Iowa Department of Transportation. I declare the public hearing on this item to be open and look for a motion to continue the public hearing at staff's request until August 11th.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Move on to item number 34, appeal of conditions of approval of certificate of appropriateness for 904 Kellogg Avenue.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
This item is the appeal of the conditions placed by the Historic Preservation Commission, and the property owner did install an HVAC system, also known as a mini split, in 2025. And the property is located in the Old Town Historic District, meaning it is subject to the Chapter 31 Historic Preservation Code. And what that means is there are exterior alterations criteria, and this project would be required to submit a certificate of appropriateness for staff or the HVC to review the criteria. And this was brought to staff's attention through a complaint that was received, and upon investigating that, staff did determine this was installed without the necessary approvals. And so we did reach out to staff, and or not staff, the applicant, and they did submit the necessary paperwork at that time. And there are no specific guidelines for mini splits within Chapter 31. And so when there are no specific guidelines, the HPC or staff rely on the design guidelines for alterations and the Secretary of Interior standards for rehabilitation. And using those guidelines and the information provided by the applicant, the HPC approved the COA with conditions. One of those conditions is to encase and conceal the exposed supply lines, and that is what is being appealed here tonight. With the appeal that was submitted, the applicant did submit new information in the form of a contractor statement that was submitted. And if the City Council does believe the applicant has significant new information that the HPC should address, the council would need to remand the application back to the HPC for review, and that is alternative 2. Ultimately, the council is charged with deciding if the HPC acted patently arbitrary in its application of Chapter 31 standards upon the information included in the review on the May 11th meeting. But based on the May 11th HPC proceedings, staff believes that HPC applied the necessary review criteria of the alterations and applied the criteria reasonably to the situation based upon the information that was presented at that meeting. And therefore, we would recommend alternative 1, which is to uphold the HPC commissions of approval and deny the appeal.
Thank you. Questions?
The option 2 that you mentioned, the remanding the appeal back to HPC, do we and maybe you just said that and I just wasn't paying enough attention, but do we believe that the new information that was submitted would change HPC's verdict?
Staff does not know if the new information would alter the criteria of their HPC would uphold the same conditions.
Do you think they would?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, we can't know, right? So when they reviewed the application, it wasn't for like one small part of the house, it was for the whole house. So the conditions, they're complying with some of the conditions. They're asking not to comply with one of them. We really don't know if the HPC would look at it differently or not. It's hard to judge, but
Okay.
the information was really about the difficulty of retroactively correcting something they put in without a permit. That's ultimately the situation, is this was installed without a COA. So maybe it wouldn't have gone this way. Maybe these wouldn't be the conditions. We just don't know. HPC had to work with what they knew at that time.
I see.
This is new for us. Could you just inform council and the public what the procedure is now that similarly situated applicants are going through, and then if we were to remand it and they ruled similarly, what recourse does the homeowner have at that point?
So you've never had an appeal in the history of the historic district that I'm familiar with. So I think this is the first time anyone has taken issue with the historic approval and asked for city council to overrule the HPC. So if you remand it, HPC would be making a new decision. So they would have, in my understanding, they would have the same appeal right that they just had. They would have 30 days to appeal it back to city council. But the threshold of review is whether the HPC made a decision that's arbitrary, not whether you agree with it or not, just whether their decision process was arbitrary and applying it. So it'd be restart the clock, basically get one more shot at HPC, then they'd have one more appeal period to come back to the city council.
And are we the court of last resort? Could they appeal this to district court, or is this the final stage? Because historically they would have to appeal. They would be applying to district court. If I'm right about that.
Well, as Kelly said, this is all very new. We've never had this kind of appeal before. But they would be able to, the answer is yes, they'd be able to appeal to district court, the council's decision. So.
Okay.
So I don't know whether this is for Parker or for Kelly, but in reading the council action form and the materials that are appended to it, it seemed to me that I saw that they installed this mini split system without getting a certificate of appropriateness. Then somebody complained that they had done it, and they went to the HPC to get retroactive approval for what they had done, and they discovered that it did not meet the guidelines in Chapter 31 or the Secretary of the Interior standards for preservation.
That's correct.
Okay. So, I mean, my opinion on this is that the HPC acted as they should have. They applied the standards, and the applicants should have sought approval instead of asking for forgiveness, which is basically what going and getting a retroactive approval is. they got approval retroactively and now they're appealing that. But I don't see what HPC has done incorrectly in applying the guidelines. And that seems to be what we have to decide.
Would this also be as a secondary action, would this also be the time that we maybe direct someone to come up with standards for mini splits?
We're going to be doing that at the next HPC meeting in August.
Okay.
So when
I
we-
wondered, I thought I remembered
Yeah,
that
so
we
when
had
we talked
set
about the
this up.
work plan in the spring, HPC had asked for some text amendments about windows and infill of openings, and we'd had 3 in mini split
Yes.
cases this year, so we said as staff we should address this now about what expectations are with mini splits so the public would know.
And what if we make a decision tonight that is different than what you end up with after we come up with standards for, like, wouldn't it be prudent to wait on this until the new standards have been decided?
But that's not what's in front of you. So tonight, all you can decide is if HPC applied the correct standards.
As they stand right now.
You can't predict that there would be new standards or other changes that could be applied to the
Sure.
property. And they have, is it 90 days? What's the compliance period after it's approved? 4 months. So they would have 4 months from, if you deny the appeal tonight, they have 4 months to make those improvements.
Kelly, could you remind us what this actually is, this 2 mini split air source heat pump system? And that's question 1. And second, are these things that are allowed in other parts of the community?
Sure. We can put up a picture of what was installed so we all know what we're talking about. So
modern
I think we're starting to see these more in older houses because it's easier to provide heating and cooling within older houses that don't have ductwork to approach it this way. The trade-off is that some people route the supply lines on the outside of the house rather than internally.
Most people, right?
Yes, generally that's why you're doing that, because you think it's cheaper and easier to do.
Yeah.
So that's it. So yes, you can do a mini split anywhere in the city. The only place we have rules about the aesthetics of it would be in the historic district. And we're treating it essentially the same as gutters, other kinds of like exterior attachments to the structure. And that typically what we're looking for is to locate them in inconspicuous locations, try to make them match the house in color, at least, so they don't stand out. Those are the types of things we're going to be looking at. So here's what was installed. And you can see those white pipes. They're not gutters, they're supply lines. So they're connected to a condensing unit down at the ground level. We don't regulate the size of your air conditioner or your unit that's on the ground. It's just those exterior conduit and exterior supply lines that we're looking at. And so we've had this year, including this one, we've had 3 go to the HPC. So it's something that's been around for a while, but all of a sudden this year we had a handful of cases for it.
And those other cases came to HPC before installing or after installing?
Did the other 2 in advance? I can't remember the sequence. Did they both come in before?
Yes, both applications came in beforehand.
I apologize. I feel like I'm dense on this tonight. Is the issue here that they didn't paint the
Yes.
PVC?
Mhm.
Is that all that we're fighting about?
There's two. Well, if you were starting from scratch, you would route it in a way that doesn't kind of dominate the historic facade with pipe links that go all over your wall. HPC did not require them to alter the path that the pipes take. They said encase it in a plastic PVC, which is what this is, and then paint it to match the house. But what's at issue is on one side of the house, the owner did not do that, and they're contesting that they don't want to, or they can't meet that expectation of being able to encase it and then paint it to match the house.
It's right.
That's
under-
the one condition.
It's in
right there.
PVC going out the wall, right? But it's,
Yes.
it's a
There's
horizontal
one on the other
piece.
side of the house.
Yep. So up here at the top,
It's right below the soffit is where they can't.
That's where the one that they're agreeing they'll paint the PVC pipe now. They're just saying that other part they don't want to or cannot easily achieve the standard of the condition of the HPC.
Of putting plastic around it, but they could still paint the pipe, right?
I don't know. Did they say they? Again, we didn't.
I was trying to look. I was trying to follow your report.
But the point is not whether or not we agree with the standard.
Correct.
Unfortunately, it's
Did they correctly interpret
whether
it?
HPC interpreted it.
Well, I'm just trying to understand, and if we could go back in time, and they had installed this, and they had painted it the appropriate color. I'm not sure what color that is, but they painted the appropriate color. Then the HPC then would have approved this. Am I saying this correctly?
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, is there anything
I would say,
else?
yeah, in a simple way, yes. That again, if you start from scratch, we're looking at where you actually route it. So the other photo is a street-facing facade where two white conduits are running across that facade. That is not the ideal way to preserve an historic facade. HPC did not require them to alter what was installed, but to only paint that. The other two that we had reviewed, we were able to, the homeowners were willing and able to situate the unit and the conduit so it'd be next to a chimney or run with a gutter or something else that was a physical vertical element and did not go crisscross kind of across the facade, and it was on a side or a rear facade. So this is a corner lot, so they have two facades that face the street. But what the commission thought was reasonable was to make it paint to match and to be encased in a PVC pipe.
Okay.
Is there public input on this? I don't know.
I don't believe the appellant was intending to
Well,
attend.
and the point is, this is basically you're deciding whether or not they properly interpreted.
We can move to send it back in light of the fact that they have painted it. Is that correct?
They have not. Again,
Part of it.
They're only contesting the one condition, which is that part under the soffit. They intend to paint this part compliant with the conditions.
Well, I'd like to give these people a chance. I mean, I hate to think.
All right, I'll open
up.
up public comment, but it's strictly to the point. They have to demonstrate in their comments, if they're here, that why the HPC did not correctly interpret the regulations, because that's really the question before council tonight, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll open up public input. If there's someone here who wants to talk to council about this particular topic, we certainly can, they're welcome to come and speak. Okay, no one wishes to speak. We'll close public input.
I would move alternative one.
Second.
Which is just for
That we approve a resolution to deny the appeal of the conditions of approval for a certificate of appropriateness by finding the HPC acted consistent with the standards of Chapter 31.
Thank you. Roll call.
Butcher,
Aye.
Junk,
Aye.
Corriere,
Aye.
Rollins,
Aye.
Beatty Hansen,
Aye.
Garten.
Nay.
Very good.
All right, so the appeal is denied. We'll inform the homeowner, and as we said, they would have 4 months to comply.
Very good. Thank you. All right, move on. Number 36, resolution accepting easements and approving purchase agreements for 24-26 traffic system capacity improvement program at 13th and Grand.
Did I miss that you already continued the next item to the 11th?
Item 35 was pulled by the applicant.
Right. Was there a
Oh.
motion to move that to the next meeting ever that I didn't hear?
No. We have not yet moved that.
Yeah, so I think we need to address so the applicant requested that item. So I think we need to introduce the item, and you need to take an action to put it on a future agenda.
Very good. Is there a motion to place item 35 on the August 11th agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Thank you, Kelly. Thanks, Parker.
Good evening. Tonight we're here to provide an update on the 13th and Grand intersection project. JCG Land Services, a subconsultant on the project, has been having ongoing conversations for the acquisition since November. Tonight, we have 10 different easement packages in front of you. There are 12 packages remaining, a combination of 10 of easements, 2 full acquisitions, of which the negotiations are still ongoing. A lot of them are in a pretty good state as well. In fact, one of the outstanding ones has now been signed, but just didn't make it in time to be here tonight. So we are making some significant progress. Part of the direction that we're looking for tonight is to provide approximately a 2-month window to try and finalize as many easement and acquisitions as possible, and then come back for future direction. One implication of that direction would be the time frame for the construction of the project. So at this point, staff believes that the construction of the project should happen in 2028. That allows the acquisitions to finalize in 2026, some other ancillary construction items to occur in 2027. It also allows us adequate time to work with the adjacent properties, both the properties that required easement as well as the ones that did not require easement but will still be impacted by the construction activities, to work through all the impacts and the staging and access conversations that we need to have with those properties. So again, we're looking for approval of table number 2 in the council action forum, the easements and the purchase agreements that are detailed in table number 2. So
Would it be possible to put the map up just for people who are watching? I think this is such a major intersection that people will be interested in seeing this. Could you give us like a 30-second like overview of how this would lay out?
Yep. So first off, north is up in this arrangement. So the green parcels that you see, the highlighted green parcels, are in front of you tonight for approval. So we have at least one parcel in each quadrant of the intersection, if you look at it that way. We probably have, I would estimate 6 of the 12 remaining should be likely to have within those 2 months. So we'd cut that down in half for future direction around September. I don't have a specific color on the parcels that need acquisition, but essentially it's the parcels with red or purple along their frontages to 13th Street and Grand Avenue.
Thanks for that.
Yep.
Other questions?
I thought we were buying that property where the church is.
We're trying.
The church and the duplex directly west of the church are the 2 full acquisitions that are anticipated for the project.
So why is that?
They're still in progress.
What?
They're still in progress.
Okay, I got it.
Okay. Any other questions?
And so it would be September of this year that you would come back if progress is not made on voluntary agreements. Then
Correct.
you'll let us know what next steps might be.
Correct.
All right, open up public comment. Does anyone want to address council on this topic tonight? Close public input. Entertain motion on resolution.
Move alternative 1.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call.
Junk.
Aye.
Corrieri.
Aye.
Rollins.
Aye.
Beatty Hansen.
Aye.
Garten.
Aye.
Betcher.
Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Are we already on this number, Mayor?
Pardon me?
Are you ready for us?
Ready to go.
All right. Hate sitting in front of the owl. Good evening, Council. This is basically a continuation of the workshop that we did on July 21st. Trust me, we're not going to go through all the same slides, but we're going to give you a quick update. So kind of a recap of where we're at and what we'd like to accomplish tonight. So tonight, We want to award basically two contracts. One would be the transformer contract, which is also known as a generator step-up transformer, and also award the RICE units. RICE units are the generating units. We then want to talk a little bit about the project budget estimate versus after awarding the contract. There's a couple of little moving parts in there that have to do with euro to US dollar conversion, and some things like that. And then it was also discussed that because we're putting out a rather large sum of money early in the contract period, to talk a little bit about surety bond, and we have I'll say a pleasant update on that particular thing as we walk through. Next slide, please. Okay, just to kind of refamiliarize you with this is we're talking a budget right now of about $192.6 million. The issues or the two topics we're covering tonight is just the top two, which is the roughly $73 million, which is the engines themselves, plus the generator step-up, which is about 4.8 from a budgetary standpoint. Next slide. So tonight, I think it's 1A on the council action form is to purchase the transformer. If we do sign tonight, the contract does have us getting delivery of that in 33 months. That is I don't say ideal schedule, but that works very well into how we're seeing the schedule play out. The transformer won't get here too soon, too early, in that we have storage problems, but not too late in that it's the driver in the overall construction. The estimated cost of the transformer, including cost increases and things like that Sergeant Lundy put together, was estimated at 4.8. When we award the contract tonight, the cost of the transformer is $2.3 million and change. That does not include taxes, so we'll be paying taxes on the top of that. We're recommending Cahoon sales. It'll be a General Electric 69 to 13.8 transformer, and that's where we're at there. And then I'm going to hand it over to Curtis, who's going to talk more on the engines.
Similarly to the transformer, we're recommending the purchase of 3 of the RICE units. They're both 18, or all 3 of them are 18.13 megawatts. The contract is for them to be delivered on foundation in October of 2029. And then the estimated cost, and the reason why we say estimated is because there's tariffs included in that cost, as well as escalation and contingencies. So it's 73.3 million is what we estimated, or Sergeant Lundy did. The award cost to Wartsila would be 70,127,000 and change. Plus we need to pay the taxes and tariffs on top of that, which is about 6.66 million. So we recommend the award to Wartsila for the 18 V50 dual fuel engines. And again, the picture is just the general scope of supply that they would be providing.
Curtis, before you go, so I guess I misunderstood. It's not just the engine.
That's right.
The 73 million is this 3 of these entire lines. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yep.
Including the stack and all the cooling systems.
Everything in that picture is one unit. And so we'd be 3 of those. And then what's not pictured in that is all the controls and electrical gear that will support that as well.
Not that it makes it any less making a gulp given the size of the purchase order, but I was just thinking it was just the engine and everything else, but there's a lot of equipment there, it appears.
Yeah, it's pretty zoomed out as well. So, but the engines themselves are pretty substantial. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, there is a lot of equipment.
Okay, thank you.
It. There's been some changes within the scope, or a change within the scope since our report on the 21st. So we discovered that within Wartsila's proposal, that they were proposing that we paint the structure steel outside, that would be located outside, and we want that to be galvanized, hot dip galvanized, just to improve longevity and reduce maintenance. And so that adder is 57,247. The other item has to do with what Don was saying, the euro to US dollar exchange rate. Now, at their proposal, it was a little bit higher. The 1.1367 euro to $1 for US is as of today, but then that dollar amount will be finalized when they receive their first payment, and then it will be fixed from there forward. And so what will happen is council will vote to approve this contract tonight for the dollar amount that we said. And then when they receive payment, which is to be within 7 days of signing, then they would issue a change order, and that could either be in our favor or not, to true up the exchange rate. And then that would be fixed for the life of the contract after that.
Yeah, in essence, they manage the risk, so they go out and manage all that, so it's locked in for both of us.
But are there any caps either way on the fluctuation? I mean, if you look at a euro dollar exchange rate, it is a very volatile exchange rate. So that leaves us, just because of the amount of money involved, it seems like both parties could hedge their bets by having some kind of reasonable caps on that fluctuation. Is that being discussed?
There's no cap. So all risk is held by us up until signing, and then they take the entire risk from there on.
And actually, the risk goes both ways, because we have, like, if we sign tonight, we have 7 days then to make the payment. So it's whatever that exchange rate is, higher or lower than that number, which then, so it could be 1.135, it could be 1.14, it could go either way. So there is a little bit of risk. We don't see it moving much off of that. We've been watching it probably for the last 3 weeks, and it's been in that 1.14. I've seen it 1.15, but yeah, there's no way to manage that in the next 7 days.
The other topic is the surety bond that I think all three of us will talk about. But so we asked Wärtsilä if they could provide us a surety bond, or what we call here a performance and supply bond. Initially, 10 days ago, they provided us the information that they could provide it, and then they gave us a dollar amount of roughly 1.5 million. We've been able to negotiate with them and talk with them since. They've lowered that dollar amount to 1,026,178, and that covers 100% of the contract value all the way until we go to commercial operation date. And then from that point on, it covers the warranty, but only up to 10% of the contract value, which staff believes that at that point, our risk is much, much lower than before.
How long is that warranty for? That bond covers it for a year? 2 years?
The warranty's 2 years.
In other words, if they don't perform any warranty work or they go bankrupt and you have to go ahead and hire someone else to do warranty on it, then the bond covers that, is what you're saying.
I don't think that's what it is. I mean, I'll let you guys speak to that, but that's not what you described last week.
I just want to make sure I understood what you're saying.
Yeah, no, it's good.
I don't know.
Okay, that's fine. It'd be good just to make sure that everyone's on the same page, essentially. But I'm not asking that it should be there. But I think it's what you've got, safeguarding the interests of the community, and the ratepayers. So when you mentioned warranty, I was just wondering if that was a warranty bond too. But go ahead.
Yeah, a couple of other pieces on the.
Could you stay on that, please? Because that did not come up, and I think it's important. What I heard last week was that it was protecting us in the event the company goes bankrupt. But you raise a point that I didn't consider last week, that they have a contractual obligation not just to provide us with the units, but to provide warranty service. Would it protect that?
I can't speak specifically. We've been using an attorney to respond to those questions and negotiate with Wardzilla, but it was my understanding that we would not find, in the event of bankruptcy and the inability to service the warranty, that the surety provider would find an organization or company that would fulfill that obligation for the duration of the surety bond.
Yeah. Which is great from the standpoint that it's a highly technical and it's very expensive in terms of what we're putting into this. We had budgeted for, maintenance contract was $1.5 million a year for a maintenance contract, and to have this covered makes perfect sense to have it in case they go belly up. They'll just get hired. The surety will hire them back to go ahead and take care of it anyway. But the point is, it's protecting our ratepayers and our community. So, on the basis that's true.
Yes, that's my understanding. Yes.
And
That's very
a
helpful.
couple,
Thank you.
couple of things on that too. So we do not know what company is actually backing this. We do know that it is not a U.S. Financial institution. It will be a European that will be backing this. So prior, or as we were looking at the surety bond, staff did sit down and look at the company's financials, anything that was public. We looked at it. It's a very solid company, currently created in 1835.
The surety company?
No,
or
the Wardzilla itself. I'm sorry. Yeah. Yeah, it's not Lloyd's of London or anything like that. So we did look at that, which gave us comfort. They're a large company, about 17,000 employees, and they're putting in 50 projects in the United States with their engines all over the country. With that said, we also then got our contracted attorney involved, who has been doing this. He's quite specialized in this particular area and has worked with Wardzilla on many of these projects. He helped us go through the both the contract language for the Wardzillas themselves and on the surety bond. And his recommendation to staff was that he would say it's prudent for a community such as Ames to get the bond, which, if you noticed in the council action form on the 28th, well, the one on the 21st, we said that staff was recommending not to take the bond, and then the council action form today on the 28th said that we've kind of changed our tune and recommended that that we do take the bond. I will mention URAB has been through this, and this was prior to the contracted attorney. URAB's recommendation formally in their minutes was not to go and take the bond. They thought that at the time, $1.5 million could be better spent on projects, but that was before we had talked to the attorney. So I just at least want to make sure that it got in the record where URAB sat on this. Maybe can you comment on the language at all? Because there's been a few documents that have been going back and forth as late as 4 and 5 o'clock today. Can you speak to that?
There was some language within the supply agreement that the attorney helped us talk through, and had a lot to do with change of law as well as force majeure. Some of the specifics around change of law was that it's already been agreed that the city would pay for tariffs and such things that would belong to the United States. But if there was a tariff, say that Finland had with another country that they were working with parts, Wardzilla was suggesting in their draft that we would be responsible for that as well. And so we were able to negotiate that out. And so we are only responsible for tariffs and taxes that are responsible to the U.S. and not because of other companies or other countries. The force majeure piece was in reference to if there was war within Middle East countries, and that would constitute a force majeure event. Well, given what is happening right now, we were concerned about starting a contract in force majeure, and so we were able to shore that language up so that it was any future items that were unforeseen that were around those countries, that they had the responsibility to look at other avenues that would make it so that they could fulfill their contract.
It's like money well spent on your attorney.
Yeah, it was very good. I would say that the last draft that we've received from Wardzilla, he was satisfied with how the contract
Good.
stands.
Good.
However, is it ready to be signed? We have to have an attorney look at it one more time. Are we okay?
What did he say?
You wanted to know, do we have to have the attorney look at it one more time, or are we okay?
He's given his last look, and he says it's as he would. He's okay with all.
We're
the
ready to go
language.
with that then? That one? Okay.
So we'll need to get a final red lines all taken out, signed by Wartsila, and then we'll get it to council or to the mayor here in the next coming days. Pending award.
So this is, I know that it's very small. I apologize. This is the same estimate on the first column that we started our presentation with. And then the next two columns are how the numbers have panned out with the bond added to the top line with the RICE units. You'll note just the red items are savings compared to our estimate, and the black in the difference column is what we're over. And so as of right now, a little over 41% of our budget being, if these were awarded this evening, will be 1.1 million over our estimation. And 1.026 of that is the bond.
If you look, there's a substantial amount of work yet to be done on the structure itself. You see that? The general contract work? That's so at 90, where'd it go?
98 million.
98 million. That's where we're going to move ahead then. Remember, we're going to pick a construction manager at risk who's going to help us through that. Recall that. We're going to try that program once we get them on board. Then that person will work with the engineers, hopefully do some good, some engineering work for us, right? And hopefully keep our costs down. And then we'll work through the at-risk process. That was explained to you at our special meeting.
Yep.
So we hope we get some savings on that particular line item.
Yep. So some next steps. So first of all, the first payment of 25%, if approved by council, will be due that first week in August within 7 days of signing the contract. That's about $17.5 million. Staff is going to continue. We're submitting a MISO generator interconnection application that'll be going in here shortly. This is what Steve was talking about. So we're looking from a construction standpoint to do what's called CMAR, Construction Manager at Risk. We're looking, the request for proposal is actually to find a firm that specializes in helping us pick the right CMAR. We don't want just any CMAR. We want somebody that has specialty in this particular area. Meanwhile, we're working with Sergeant Lundy to finalize that general arrangement. That's on how all of the buildings sit, where the equipment will sit, so that then formal building design can be done. And we want the CMAR on board much sooner as that's going on, so that they can value add as we're going through that. Staff and UFSS, that's the Mike and Mark group that council remembers. We're engaging with them to help us adjust the energy cost adjustment. So as we're saving money from not burning refuse-derived fuel, that can be properly accounted for and being used to help pay off the bonds. And then
on the August 25th meeting, we'll be back with Suzanne, our financial advisor, to present our financing plan for the entire project. So the full $192 million, we should have a proposal then to discuss.
So the council action form itself is written a little different. Item number 1 is basically approval of the transformer is 1A, and approval of the Wartsila contract is 1B. Number 2 is 1 plus, if council desires to also approve the surety bond, it's 1. 2 is 1 plus the surety bond. And on that council action form, staff or the city manager is recommending item number 2 as opposed to normally it would be 1. And we're open for questions. I think that's it.
Don, the surety bond that's mentioned in Alternative 2 is still at the 1.5 amount. So what is the amount that we would be voting on there?
Thank you. This has been moving, and Curtis is too kind to say that we all worked on Wartzilla to get this. Curtis kept bugging him, saying, "You got to do something better." It was Curtis that saved us roughly $500,000 on that. So,
Is there a
I'm gonna
finder's
buy him a
fee on
pizza
that
or
or
something. Sir,
Is there a finder's fee on that or?
well, pizza.
Pizza. Oh, it better be a big
So
pizza.
that's the number there.
1,026,178.
That is correct. And I will say, Wartzilla's been, if Wartzilla does during the construction and building of the engines, like they've been responsive to the questions and issues and wanting to talk through this, if they're that responsive, this is going to be an excellent partnership in the years to come.
Which is important. So the numbers in alternative 1A and B are accurate. It's the number 2,
Okay,
which
now you
would
got
be.
Curtis looking at it.
Yeah. Well, make sure because it'll go into the record.
That's correct.
2308 800 is the transformer.
That is correct.
And it's 69,235,20 for the engines, subject to a currency conversion rate.
And that was updated here in the last 10 hours. So that number,
what should that be then?
It should be in the slide deck, please. Next down. Nope. Right there. That is the number that we received from Wartzilla today.
So the approval, the motion would need to be 70,127,616, or is it that plus the 662?
The taxes and tariffs will be paid. So the contract between us and Wartzilla will be that number, subject to the euro. There'll be a change order that's going to correct the.
No, he's asking that number being 70 million. Does that include the taxes and tariffs, or is it in addition to that number?
When does that get? If that's an addition, when does that get approved?
The entire number will be the 70,127 plus the 6,662. Let me go down. So it's a full number of 76,789,000.
Let's go slow. So it's 76.
Oh, you can't see it. I'm sorry.
76 million.
76,789,000.
789.
739.
So the motion
and 52 cents.
That would be, and then that would be subject to any currency fluctuation in the next week. But that includes the estimate. That's the taxes and tariffs. That's complete for the engines.
That's correct. So that'll allow us to pay Wartzilla, allow us to pay taxes
And
for
the
the
tariffs.
equipment and the tariffs as the tariffs sit today.
And they may fluctuate.
And that would
hard
be
to tell what's
that would
gonna
be worked
happen.
within a change order.
But at least you got everything as known today in a motion.
Correct.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
No, it's all right. It just make sure that we get the numbers correct. So when the record shows, you're not coming back and saying, "Oh, we forgot. We got to do this, this, and this."
So now I'm confused. That 76 million number does not include the surety bond. It includes
It does include the.
Oh, it does.
I thought the plus was 6 million something already.
The 6 million is taxes and tariff.
Yeah, but 70,000 plus 6 million is 76. So where's the additional million
Right.
for the surety bond?
Actually, Gloria, that's a great catch because if you take the 69 million and you add in 66 or 6.6 million, that's 75.6. So the actual contract would be less the 1,026,178.
The 76 number would be for 1B. The approval of Wartzilla.
And then
And then
you're
two
short
has the
then
surety
you're short
bond
$1 million
added.
in your spreadsheet then. Because you said that it's 69,230,000 plus the 6.6 million, right? For the tax and tariff, which would be 75,800,000.
That's what.
plus 1,026,000 would get you to the 76. We better get this right.
Yeah, we do.
You want to take a few minutes? We could take a 5-minute break. Why don't you go ahead and figure out the numbers so that we
figure
can
the rest of the.
And does it include the additional amount, the 52,000?
Yeah. Yes, I know that for sure.
Okay.
All right.
Or 50, whatever the 50,000.
Right.
Let them take a break. Finish the rest of the agenda. And
All right. What's that?
you want to finish the rest of the agenda?
Yeah, let's go ahead and we will go ahead and move on to item number 38, and we'll come back to 37. Good point. Right, item number 38, entertain motion on third reading and adoption of ordinance number 4601, rezoning ordinance with master plan for the Bluffs at 4899 Everest Avenue.
Move on third.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call.
Corriere,
Aye.
Rollins,
Aye.
Beatty Hansen,
Aye.
Garten,
Aye.
Betcher,
Aye.
Junk.
Aye.
And entertain motion on resolution approving the rezoning agreement.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call.
Rollins,
Aye.
Beatty Hansen,
Aye.
Garten,
Aye.
Betcher,
Aye.
Junk,
Aye.
Corriere.
Aye.
Move on to item 39, entertain motion on third reading and adoption of ordinance number 4602, zoning text amendment modifying the Northeast Gateway Overlay District O-GNE standards.
Move on third.
Second.
Roll call.
Beatty Hansen,
Aye.
Garten,
Aye.
Betcher,
Aye.
Junk,
Aye.
Corriere,
Aye.
Rollins.
Aye.
Thank you. Moving on to disposition of communications to council. There are 8 items. The first is a email from John Shaw regarding mowing city property, 1706 Amherst Drive.
Let's get a memo from the Public Works Director.
I would move for a memo from the Public Works Director on this.
Second.
Those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Second is an email from Ann Shuey regarding flooding on Nixon Avenue.
Need a memo from the Public Works Director.
Move we get a memo from the Public Works Director.
Second.
Those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any opposed? Motion carried. Next is a email from Craig Sackett. Safety concern for road curve located by Stonehaven Apartments.
I'd move for a memo from traffic.
Well, just say Public Works.
Public
Director.
Works,
We'll go through
sorry.
the Director first.
Yeah, sure.
Second.
Public Works.
Feels sad if you don't go through him first.
Oh, I'm sorry. My bad.
Those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Next is a letter from Light Edge Development regarding the data center from Mike McDaniel.
Information.
Information only. Next from Mike Frisk, flooding in North Ames.
We're already getting a memo on that, right?
I
would move we work this into the
it'll
former
go,
memo.
It'll go
about
to, the
localized flood.
Public Works Director again.
Okay. Those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Next is from Aaron Ollendike. Request to waive the requirement for rural subdivision covenants for a plata survey at 3500 360th Street.
Need a memo from the Planning Director.
I'd move we get a memo from the Planning Director.
Second.
Those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Carried. Next in the ISU Interfraternity Council, request for golf cart use for fraternities and sororities at a very limited period of time.
Yeah, we need a memo.
Move.
Be for the police chief and the risk managers who we're going to send it to.
I would
There's two
move
issues.
for a memo from the police chief and the risk manager.
It'll be a combined
manager.
memo.
Okay.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Carried. Last is memo from city attorney, changes in state law, silent file 2378.
This is Mark's response to that, so I think you want to put on a future agenda if you want to follow through, right, Mark?
I'd move we put this on a future agenda.
Second.
Okay. Those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carried. Move on to report of governing body participation with Discover Ames.
We had a presentation from Katie Kramer on visitor experience update. That was sort of interesting. Huge number of events that Discover Ames is facilitating. Nothing else that I noted
We also had an announcement about the Sci-Town groundbreaking, which is supposed to occur on September 2nd, with groundbreaking on the south side of Center Drive, and the hotel will come in the future at some point on the north side. And we got some other updates on the progress of the event center, and it's moving on. They're going through their process.
Okay. Ames Regional Economic Alliance, any report?
We meet Friday.
Yeah.
Okay, Story County Emergency Management Agency met on Wednesday, July 15th. There's an emergency operations center project which is going on in the basement of Story County Courthouse. Story County is paying for the actual construction. The Story County Emergency Management is paying for technology upgrades. We got a project update on that. Should be done sometime late summer, early fall. Talked about disaster fund. The Story County Emergency Management has essentially a $100,000 kitty that is available to be used similar to a bank in case a small community needs to borrow some money to pay for cleanup. And then the expectation is that they would pay that back over a period of time through their general funds. We discussed that. We got a solar grant for about $80,000 for some portable solar panels and battery packs to be using in case of emergency. I can't say enough positive things about Rich Higgins. He is our goes to some of these meetings. He's really involved. So is the fire department, and so I think he's taking care of working on that. And then we talked about some budget closeout decisions and talking about strategic plan review and direction for the next 5 years. So, and also I had asked and will be proposing that we have the coordinator for Story County Emergency Management Agency to come to council and just do a quick 5 or 10 minute update on what they do, the fantastic services they provide, how they work and network. They do not actually do the work, they're the coordinators. But I think it'd be good for council and our community to know that they do a lot of planning, and we're very appreciate what they do. Transit.
We did not meet since our last council meeting.
Okay. Council comments, Gloria.
Rummage Rampage is underway at the intermodal facility at 129 Hayward Avenue. I've been there for about 18 hours so far over the last few days. The opening day of the event, cash purchases totaled $27,000, and that does not take into account the many, many, many Venmo purchases that were made. So this week, noon till 6 every day. Saturday morning opens at 8, closes at noon, and all items are half price on Saturday. Last drop-off day is Thursday, but there are drop-off times between now and Thursday. If you want to donate, please stop by and come and shop. And Bronwyn has been there doing an Ames Repair Cafe kind of partnership with the Rampage, and doing some minor repairs and maintenance on bikes and things like that.
Well, bless your hearts for enduring the humidity and the heat in that ramp. Well, it's been going on, so. Anything else?
No, that's it.
Rachel?
Nothing tonight.
Amber, anything tonight?
No, nothing for me.
Anita?
Just thanking staff again, especially as we continue through the data center conversations, and thanking the community for staying involved. Our emails, we are reading them. Okay.
Thank you. Roman?
Nothing for me tonight. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Two things. National Night Out is next Tuesday. Great event. It's unbelievable the impact we have on our community with that. So that's next Tuesday night. And I want to give a shout out to, I have the luxury of working in air conditioning during my day, but we have city staff that are required to work in this crazy heat. And so we appreciate those who work hard so that we continue to have city services even in inclement weather. So thanks to them.
Tim, that National Night Out, August 4th
Yeah.
at 5:30 at the middle school.
Right.
Just so people can make sure when they're watching this on YouTube, they know when next Tuesday is.
Right. Thanks for that. Yep.
And that's when sometime about the helicopters be landing sometime there too. So
Black Hawk helicopter.
Yeah.
And they give out school supplies and
14
Shoes.
And so if it's a great event.
And maybe a special kudos to our Ames PD for taking a real leadership role in that.
Do a great job.
This is not something that they have to do. And so it's a great community building, relationship building with our police department. So
Well, I would just add too is there's a lot of people that volunteer, and there's one person in particular buys all the shoes.
Right.
I mean, not out of their own pocket, but they raise money, and I talked to them a few years ago. And they said the garage looks like a shoe warehouse essentially beforehand. They have 1,400 boxes of shoes that are in there.
and what a difference for these kids to go to school
And
with
backpacks and
good
other
shoes
things.
and backpacks. So
Yeah, it's fantastic. All right, so we'll have this little tick-tock, waiting for Mr. Com and Mr. Spence to come up here and give us the final numbers.
Yeah, I apologize with this council. It's been back and forth
No problem.
up to the last hour.
We like these kind of problems when they go down by $500,000, Curtis.
So the $76,789,739.52 is the total amount, all in taxes, tariffs, and bond.
Okay.
So that would be item number 2.
With the
Alternative number 2 is on the council action form.
Does that make?
Did you say 52 cents?
I did.
Okay.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Just want to make sure.
Sorry.
That's doing the math, taxes.
Item number 1B, which is the award to Wartsila,
Is 70 million to Wartsila. This is
No, wait. All right, so
without the bond.
how would you prefer?
So it's A, right?
How do we want to make sure this motion is drafted the way that you want? Do you want the bond separate, or do you want the total Wartsila contract, taxes, tariffs, and bond in one number? How do you, because the council can award something.
We would like it as one number, and I think that would be better because that's what staff is recommending. So bond, taxes, tariffs, and the entire equipment contract with Wartsila, which is the
76, 789, 739, and 52 cents.
we put the 52 cents in there for Brian.
That's your tip for
Okay. And then the generator step up transformer is 2,308,800.
That's correct.
Do taxes.
Don says that does not include taxes. The taxes for I'm embarrassed by this. I apologize.
No.
The taxes included on the transformer is $2,470,416.
2470416.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
That's the purchase plus taxes. All right, so let's do this. I entertain a motion on awarding a contract to Calhoun Sales Incorporated, Iowa City, Iowa, for the generator step up GSU transformer for the Ames Municipal Energy Center and the amount of $2,470,416, which includes taxes. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Garten,
aye.
Betcher,
Aye.
Junk,
Aye.
Corey,
Aye.
Rollins,
Aye.
Beatty Hansen.
Aye.
Okay. Entertain motion awarding a contract to Wartzilla North America Incorporated of Houston, Texas for 3 18V50DF engines and auxiliary equipment in the amount of $76,789,739.52, subject to currency conversion rate and inclusive of tax, tariff, and surety bond.
So moved.
Second.
And
Roll-
the equipment
So-
contract,
Pardon me?
right?
I did
It
not.
also includes the equipment contract. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, the motion was for 3 18V50DFs engines and auxiliary equipment in the amount inclusive of.
Okay.
So the amount that the number I gave included tax, tariff, and whatever the bonds. I know it's called surety, but you had a double. You had a
Surety and supply bond.
supply.
Performance and supply.
Was it
Performance and supply bond.
performance and supply bond? Make sure that.
And before we vote, I want to just take one more shot at this to make sure I understand this. So the window that we're worried about for currency fluctuation is just a week. And so once this week passes, then the exchange rate is locked in for the contract. Am I saying that correctly?
Yes.
It's as soon as they receive that first payment, that is the day that the number is set.
So our liability exposure is really just a few more days.
Yes.
Because
They're taking the risk. They're going to arbitrage the risk essentially. Wartzilla is once they get their down payment, they're going to, if the currency rate goes up or it goes down, they're taking all the risk on that.
Corey, given the action tonight, how long will it be before you transfer the money? You've got until when? Friday? End of business day on Friday? When will you transfer the money? You got to sell off some.
Yeah, so I think if the contract's signed tomorrow, we have 7 days, which means we would liquidate some of our current investments that we have realized gains, and we would, in all likelihood, try and send a wire next Wednesday. So a week from tomorrow. So 7 days.
And so once that wire is complete, that's what locks the exchange rate.
That is the rate going forward. Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Hey,
If I could give a little bit of an understanding more on that, Tim. So they provided their proposals back in the end of May. And so there was some risk on our part that was a lot greater because they were saying until you sign this contract, you the City of Ames, bear the risk of what that's going to do. Now it's been in our favor since, and they've updated the price up to today. But there was more risk that we were bearing because they provided a proposal and said it's on the city until we give the signature.
Yeah, and I appreciate. I'm much more comfortable now. I did a quick bit of research. There are these different mechanisms for both sides to protect themselves, and they call them common exchange rate mechanisms. But if we're only looking at this small window, I don't feel like that's an inordinate risk for the city to take.
No.
Thanks.
Okay. Roll call.
Betcher,
Aye.
Junk. Aye.
Corriere,
Aye.
Rollins,
Aye.
Beatty Hansen,
Aye.
Garten.
Aye.
All right. Anything else? Are you good to go?
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks for all your efforts.
Great
Thank
work.
you for Curtis for being persistent and saving our ratepayers $500,000.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Entertain motion to adjourn.
Move we adjourn.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you.